Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about how to build the Sony a7 III into a budget mirrorless cinema rig. Coming up. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Alex Gasaway, and this channel is all about creativity, business, and purpose, and how to combine all three to tell good stories. If any of that interests you, make sure to hit all those buttons down below. Because today we're talking about how to build a budget cinema rig with a7 III. First things first, let's talk about the basic reasons why you might want a cinema rig. The one thing that drives me crazy when I'm shooting events or shooting promo materials where my client has gathered people that are going to be in the video but don't really know anything about video is when they turn and smile and pose because they think I'm taking picture. So I'd say one of the number one benefits of building out a cinema rig is so that people don't confuse you as a photographer. It just brings a little more legitimacy to your setup and makes you look more professional. And this rig isn't going to just make you look more professional, it's also going to give you the ability to up your game in some respects to capturing content. I use this exact rig on tons of client shoots. Probably the longest shoot that I had used this on recently is a 5-day shoot shooting a mini documentary series. The second biggest benefit, and the thing that actually led me to building this out in the first place, was the extra battery life. Being able to use these NPF batteries instead of the small batteries either on the A6300, 400, 500, 600, or even the a7 III, being able to know dependably that this battery is going to last me all day, that is a game changer for me. And especially when you're shooting long client interviews, if you're shooting interviews all day long, 10 hours a day, this is going to be a fantastic way to power your rig. So to build this out, here I have the small rig cage, then tied to the top handle, I have the Sony a7 III, and the Tamron 28-75. Now on the right side I have a little ball head here, and attached to it is one of my favorite little pieces of gear that I've ever bought. Budget gear, completely affordable. I love this thing. The blind spot is by a company called Power Junkie. A lot of cinema rigs that you'll see built out on YouTube include a V-mount, so they've got this whole rail system and they're mounting a big cinema battery on the back of their DSLR or mirrorless camera. It's usually set up right here. The thing that I wanted to avoid was, number one, having to invest in big and expensive cinema batteries. A lot of us have these NPF batteries lying around. I know I have a ton of them, and so when I found this blind spot solution, I was thrilled and I bought two immediately, and I use them all the time, both in client work and in YouTube videos. I'm using one right now to shoot this video. This blind spot by Power Junkie is an incredible piece of kit that I have enjoyed for the last 1.5 to 2 years or so, and I highly recommend that. What I like about this solution, not only because it's more affordable and budget friendly, but I don't have to have an entire rail system rigged up here. When you do that, you immediately have to add a monitor. You have to have another screen or you can't view and you can't compose your shot. This actually allows me to be super run and gun, not getting weighed down by having an extra monitor. Now, some people always shoot with monitor. I like to have the flexibility when I'm shooting with the a7 III to be able to use that eye autofocus. In fact, I started out with a monitor on that client shoot that I mentioned, the 5 shoot days for a mini documentary series, and quickly got rid of it because I wanted to be able to use eye autofocus. That being said, if you are someone who wants to shoot with a monitor, I completely get that. I sometimes still shoot with a monitor with this setup. Super easy, you just slide the monitor on here and you still have a pretty minimal setup. And in that case, if you are adding this monitor to the top of your camera, you can move this battery to the back here and you can fully abandon this blind spot. I haven't moved this around, honestly. I don't want to mess with it because I have this pretty well balanced so that when I'm holding the top handle, like the camera is really well balanced. But if you are going to build out and have a monitor on top of your rig like this, I highly recommend just making sure that you have one that has the flexibility that you can have an NPF battery in the back and you can actually power your whole camera through that as well. You are going to just run a dummy battery into your camera. All right, let's move over to the other side of the camera. This is the Rode Micro. When I'm shooting, I have usually like a Rode Mic Pro or the Deity V3 or whatever it is. That's what I'm using to shoot this. So I have the Rode Micro. Honestly, I've used the Micro before on shoots. It's not bad. But you're just gonna have your typical microphone here. Now where this gets kind of interesting, I just came up with this solution recently actually for running on shoots, really running on shoots. Let's say you have a shoot and you're gonna be miking people up, but you're so run and gun that you also wanna be capturing audio on the go in case you don't have the right person lobbed up. So recently I came up with this solution. I bought a splitter, and so I have the splitter plugged into my microphone port, and I have this tied here so that it doesn't really move anywhere, and I have both my shotgun mic and here I have the Rode Wireless Go plugged in. Basically that allows me to have the lav going into channel 1 and the shotgun microphone going into channel 2. This actually was a huge lifesaver when I was shooting this mini doc series last month. It worked super well. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and it made it a lot less stressful. We got some really cool moments and key audio pieces for the story that we wouldn't have been able to grab if we were fully dependent on the lav. And lastly, in my opinion, a key benefit to building out a cinema rig is that you're actually weighing your camera down. Our cameras have gotten so lightweight, and while it's super convenient and I still shoot all the time with my camera just bare bones, those lighter weight cameras are sometimes not beneficial when you're shooting handheld. You need something to stabilize, and the more you weigh down your camera, the more steady your shots are usually going to be, because the heavier they're in your hands, the less jittery movement that your arms and hands are going to have behind that camera. Once you have all the components that you need, you can tear it down, build it back up, move things around to really suit the needs of the shoot. That's it. Honestly, I'd love to know if you have built out a cinema rig for your mirrorless or DSLR camera. What does it look like? What are the components? Hop over on Instagram and send me a DM picture of what you're shooting on, because I'm always excited to see what everyone's doing and if there are any tweaks that I can make to my own rig. But that's it for this video. If you haven't already, go ahead and like, subscribe, do all the things. I'll see you in the next one.